So the biggest issue I'm finding with clients that are suffering from intense anxiety and panic attacks is they're always wondering, why is this happening to me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? Now, the backstory isn't as important as the mechanics of what's happening. The backstory is usually a prolonged period of stress or trauma in your life, and it can just sneak up on you. And what's usually the case is usually it's a very analytical minded person or intellectual person that kind of tries to think their way out of it and tries to analyze their way out of anxiety, which gets them caught in the cycle. You see, what happens is over the prolonged period of stress, symptoms start to develop, the sensations start to develop, and then you start to kind of trigger the amygdala. You start to pump more adrenaline and cortisol through a prolonged period of time. And what happens is you start to respond incorrectly and incorrectly and then incorrectly and incorrectly. And then what happens then as a result is you start to treat the symptoms themselves as danger. You see, the brain doesn't know the difference between real or imagined. So think about, like, even if you're in a meeting or if you're in a stressful situation at work and you treat that as danger, the brain thinks that there's a tiger there, literally thinks that you're in danger. So it pumps this excess adrenaline and cortisol through the body to get you out of danger, pumps it to your arms and legs, the blood flow, takes it from all your vital systems, and then to get you out of danger. Now you see, what that leads to that can lead to IBS, then digestive issues, because your internal system is not working correctly. It's basically taking blood flow from the digestive system to the arms and legs. So that can really catch up with you, and it can be really uncomfortable. You can become overwhelmed. You can become like, what the hell is going on with me? And you start to treat the IBS as one issue. You start to treat the heart palpitations as another issue. You start to treat the lightheadedness as another issue. That's kind of the journey I went on. Like, I suffered anxiety and panic attacks for 15 years and suffered chronic fatigue associated with the anxiety for a year. And I learned to overcome them all by learning why it was happening, learning the mechanics of anxiety, learning how the brain works, then learning how to respond differently to how I feel, understanding that what was already happening was already happening, and that I had no control over what was already happening. It's already here. What am I supposed to do? Like, it's already here. It's already happening. So any sensation or feeling, I started to learn to leave them be and leave them alone and let go of control. But there is more to it. Like, obviously then I had the habit of checking in. I had the habit of trying to fix this. I had the habit of, basically trying to push it away and resist it. And you have to unlearn all of that. You have to unlearn that, and you have to rewire the neural pathways, which was the last stage, because I couldn't get out of fatigue until I recreated new neural pathways, new neurons, new neural connections, rather than all the negative ones searching for the negative, searching for all the danger all the time. And that was basically the basis of my recovery journey, was like, why is this happening? Okay, it's excess adrenaline and cortisol pumping through the body, trying to burn itself out as thought, as excessive thinking, as overthinking, as all these excessive sensations, excessive negative symptoms. And then I had to understand then, well, what am I in control of? I'm not in control of any of that if it's already happening. It's already here. So only what matters then is how I respond to it. So once I learned to respond correctly by just letting it be there, accepting it and allowing it to burn itself out, and getting my consciousness out of the way. And then obviously the last step then, the real cherry on top, was rewiring the neural pathways, which stopped me checking in, stopped me engaging, stopped me analyzing, stopped me giving attention, stopped me fixating on all of these symptoms, sensations and thoughts. That was my road to recovery. And that was the pathway. That was the only pathway that I figured out how to get out of it. And a lot of it was unlearning process. A lot of it was stopping bad habits, and a lot of it was stopping to engage with the anxiety. And then obviously what I say to a lot of my clients, the main tip that I'm going to give you today is, every morning I used to wake up and I used to ask myself this question: what would I do today if I didn't have anxiety? What would I do? And then I start to act and behave accordingly over a period of time. Now, none of this was easy. It was incredibly hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. But I eventually got there over time, because I started focusing on long-term recovery rather than short-term kind of like, easy way out type stuff that was just temporary fixes. Like, think about long-term recovery. Think about rewiring the neural pathways. That takes time. It takes time. Like, the rewiring the neural pathways is based in neuroplasticity, where the brain can change its physiology. Now, unfortunately, with a lot of anxiety clients, their brains are programmed for anxiety, programmed to trigger the amygdala, programmed to trigger the alarm like super quick. It's automatic. You have to basically train yourself to unlearn that and turn off that switch. So guys, if you feel like that this really helps you and you want to gain further knowledge, please feel free to DM me or follow me on all my social media and click on the links, any of the links below.